Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Al Thomas here, all things business. Hey, I've got millionaire number 20 or 21, Mr. Jeremy Bhimji of mine. And Ben, he's going to talk about a little bit of that today. And we're excited about having a call. I'm at my place here in Mexico, and he is in Florida, Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers, yep.
Fort Myers, Florida. So without further ado, everybody, here's one of my millionaires of the 21 that I've trained and coached. Here's another one here. He's out Florida, and he's going to chat a little bit with you on what it takes to be successful. And with that, Mr. Jeremy Bhimji, good morning, sir.
Good to see you guys. I wish I was in Mexico fishing and enjoying life with y'all down there.
Well, you know, anybody could do this if they work hard at whatever they're doing in business and just stay focused. It's very important to stay focused. Give everybody a little bit about your background and how you got started and who you are and where you started your life, and then we'll bring it into how we met.
Okay, yeah. So I'm 38 years old. I've been pretty much my own boss since I was about 25. I was in the restaurant industry my whole life. I kind of always knew that I was looking for something else, and I just figured I wanted to look at all ways to make money without working. And it took me years and meeting the right people like yourself to finally get there. But thank God we got there and got over the hump. And now life is a lot better than it was. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Now, how long? I'm trying to think of how long we've been knowing each other. How many years ago was that? Or
You
what
know what's
year?
funny? I went back and looked right before this. We met in October of 2012.
2012.
So 12 years ago now.
12 years ago.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow, 12 years ago. And we met, was it Fort Myers?
Yeah, we
Florida?
met in Fort Myers. Yep.
Yeah. Now, at the time, what were you doing at the restaurant business at the time? Wasn't that?
So at the time, I was a manager of a restaurant that I did not like working for. And the day I met you, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't remember this, but I told you if you taught me how to be successful, I would quit my job today. And that was it. That was the last day I ever had a job. The day I met you. It was October 3rd, 2012.
So see, folks, he quit his job, followed the Pied Piper, and now he's a multi-millionaire. So you quit your job, you got involved with me in network marketing. You did extremely well there. We built teams in Fort Myers. We built teams going up to Chicago.
Yeah, well, we did Cleveland too. It was so we had teams Chicago, Cleveland, on the West Coast, Texas, overseas in Germany. I mean, we had people all over.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you built a big organization, a large organization.
We had a great run, and it was a great learning experience. And I'm very grateful to my network marketing past. And then when we finally got back to the restaurant industry and opened our own restaurants, we took the same skills we learned over there and applied them to traditional business. And I feel like it's always given me an unfair advantage.
You know, you said something pretty profound. A lot of people don't understand. And I hope we said it to other speakers as well. You took the industry, what you learned, and applied it to what you did in the restaurant business, and exploded. So
yeah, I believe that anybody who was successful in network marketing, they have an unfair advantage over anyone in the business space, because the skills, the ability to communicate, the ability to, recruit good talent, the devotion to personal development, I think all those things translate very well to the business world. And I just feel like it's like playing against little kids on the basketball court. It's literally not even close.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Once you're in network marketing, what you learned, the skill set is just phenomenal, and you can take that to
100%.
and be light years ahead. So you went back to the restaurant business for how many years, and what happened there?
We did, I think it was 4 years. We bought our old partner out of one of the restaurants, and then eventually opened it. We grew it to 6. Myself, my business partner, my brother. We grew it to 6, and in 2022, we started selling them off one by one. And now, by 2024, we got none left. We sold all 6, put millions of dollars in the bank, and my construction company has been booming for the last 5 years anyway. So it kind of was like a good transition out. And then, if you don't know, Florida got hit with like a devastating hurricane, and 2 of my restaurants made national news with how bad the damage was. Walls blown in, completely flooded, roof ripped off. And I just took it as a sign from God, like, the community's going to need help rebuilding. Your restaurants are damaged. Go ahead and sell everything and just focus on construction, which is what we've been doing since.
Okay. Tell us a little about your construction business. What are you doing there? Tell everybody what you're doing. I know what you're doing, but they don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry. So I own Legacy Construction Group with my business partner, Mike, and we do mostly new construction. Like, if you can see over my shoulder, that's our list of new construction houses. We got 49 building right now. And then we do, restaurant build outs, remodels, things like that. But mostly we focus on building investment properties for investors. We don't work with retail clients at all. We have a specialized niche where we work with people like you and Mr. Clemens and people like that all over the country who want to build cash flowing real estate down here in Florida.
You said you had how many on the board there? 49?
49, yeah.
Wow, that's a nice little, that'll keep you busy, won't it?
Yeah, it's better than a hole in the head, that's for sure.
So now you got millions in the banks, 49 projects going on, dealing with investors, got a whole different niche. Notice folks, you got a niche there, and you start working it, and now went from handful to handful. Now he's got 49 he's working on at a time.
Oh yeah, we
And
started with one. We started with just the one. Remember, I don't know if you remember this, but they don't
yeah,
know. We started with just a sixplex, 2019. That was our first new construction project, and we had an investor that trusted us, and we ended up knocking the ball out of the park. And then the next year we did 5 for him, and then it's grown to us bringing on investors from all over the world. We kind of specialize in overseas investors who are dying to get their money into the United States because the inflation rates are so bad where they live. So like I have an Argentinian group that I told them I can give them like a 25% year on year return on their cash. And they said if they combine that with the 30% they're losing a year, it's like a 50% return in 1 year in real estate. So people might not know how bad it is outside the United States, but there is a tremendous amount of opportunity if you just look beyond our borders.
That's right. That's why I'm in Mexico today at my house here in Mexico. People don't realize we're so tunnel vision, this United States.
Tied in like this.
Huh?
No,
Yeah.
you're right. People have the blinders on.
And there's, all over the world. I just got back from Turkey and Caicos. I'm going to go to actually down to Paris, France here in the end of the month. But there's so much around the world. People have no idea. They're just not used to being exposed to opportunities. And see, you understand that because you're an international kind of guy, and now you're getting investors from outside the area. Yeah.
100%. I was blown away by just how much wealth is in some of the small countries that you would think are not doing great. Like we have investors from Chile and Peru and Argentina, from Curacao, which is a tiny island. Some of the wealthy people there, it blew me away how wealthy they were. So I just think, like I said, you got to get your head out of the sand a little bit and look around the world, and there's plenty of opportunities for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how did you get these outside investors to come in from outside the United States? How did that work? Tell everybody out there.
So one thing about network marketing is you learn how to network very, very well. You learn how to meet the right people, ask the right questions, and we call it tap rooting, but they don't know what that is. But it basically means you're digging through other people's networks to find, points of contact that can help you in your business. So I've been doing that for 12 years now. So I've got a pretty sizable network base, but also I've always tried to live right and do business the right way. So I feel like when I do call people that I haven't spoken to in a while, they only think back of me fondly, and they're willing to kind of open up their contact books versus some people are charlatans and they don't even want to answer the phone when they call.
Yeah, that's because you built up a credibility in your name. Your name is worth something, and the credibility you build up, and the keyword is trust. That you build up with people. Now, you also said something that's pretty amazing, because what you learned in network marketing, how to tap root and build trust. Give us an idea what the first property you bought, what the numbers look like on that, just if you don't mind.
My first investment property? Sure.
Because I know a lot of people saying, wow, he's giving 25%. That's wow. It must be risky. But maybe throw some numbers around. What did you pay for the land, cost you to build, what you sold it for? If you don't, that's not getting.
I'll just run you through a typical 2-unit house here in South Florida. So we call them duplexes down here. Some people call them 2 flats, depending on where you're at. So a duplex here, the land used to be about 65, 70,000. Now it's about 110,000 for a duplex lot. I build a duplex for 350,000 on your land. So let's say you put in 120 plus my 350 or 470 in. Right now, those duplexes are going for $599 retail. So if you do 470 divided by 599, it's like 120,000 on your 470. It's a 26% blended average in a 1-year return.
Wow.
Pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not super hard.
Yeah. See, making money is simple, and the numbers are simple. People complicate it. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, how quickly he put those numbers together, because it's just simple calculation and a simple formula. See, making money has always been simple. People complicate it.
People make it harder than it is, and if you want to hold it, then you're making $2,000 aside. That's $4,000 a month, $48,000 a year. You're talking like a 10% cap rate, which is in this market is pretty sizable.
Yeah.
for real estate. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we do the same things very simply over and over and over again. That's
In
all.
other, in other words, it's a cookie cutter. Just
Yep. We have 5 models, 1300, 1700, 2000, 2400 duplex. That's it. You want a custom house? Don't call us. We're not your guy. You know what I
right.
mean? Like if you want a custom house, Mr. Thomas, I'll build you whatever you want. But like
Yeah.
a normal client, that's not who we operate with. We work with investors. Investors have a different way of thinking. They don't care specifically about every light fixture and things like that. They care about their rate of return and how fast you can build the house for them.
Just the numbers.
So,
We're numbers people. That's right.
yeah. Like I mean, me and you have looked at tons of real estate and bought stuff without
Yep.
ever seeing it. So
Yeah.
it's because we don't care. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it looks
I
like.
was
Yeah.
telling a group the other day, I was somewhere, and I said I bought 17 houses up in Cleveland. I never seen any of them.
I
Never
remember
seen years.
I was with you the first time you went up there.
Oh, that's
Remember
right.
we went up and met with the realtor? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, bought them to this day and never seen them. And I sold them, never seen them. And people look at me weird. I said, you understand, investors, we care about the numbers. You guys get emotional.
Yeah. It was like a whole neighborhood, right? You bought like a whole cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I met you up in Cleveland for that. That was back in like 2000, maybe 14 or something like that. That was a while back.
Yeah, it was a while back, but that's how you make it in real estate. You know, it's numbers, 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 numbers. And that's what's important. You know, so with people out there, they're looking at you like, my God, he went for network marketing. He started back in the restaurant, sold out of that, got into construction. What would you say to people that are looking at, I know you've been versatile in a lot of businesses, like most entrepreneurs are. Persons out there looking today saying, okay, I'm thinking about getting a business. What are the parameters should I look for? What should I look out for? Put that on the table a little bit.
So technology is changing things very fast. I would look for something that you put as little money as you can in, you can make as much money as possible with no cap, and that you can make money 24/7. Making money 8 hours a day, you'll stay broke forever. You'll never be able to make enough. So, and then use your active income to invest passively. So buy real estate, buy, commodities, buy cryptocurrency, buy stocks, buy ETFs, whatever you think that, you'll have a chance to grow with paying some dividends. But like for me, I take all my active income and I invest it in real estate. So in the last, what's it, May right now? Let's say in the last 6 months, I bought 5 houses. So I use all the cash I have coming in. I don't really necessarily believe in taking out a lot of loans. I know everybody has a different strategy, but I'm only 38, so I got plenty of time to make cash. So basically, over the last 6 months, I bought 5 houses, completely paid cash. They just add to my real estate portfolio, and we do short-term rentals down here. So those 5 will cash flow between 8 and 10,000 a month, depending on the month. And I keep taking that active, keep putting it to passive. But whatever you do, I think you need to make sure that you take advantage of the technological changes that are happening right in front of us with AI and things like that. There's a book actually that I know both of us have read, but if they haven't, it's called The Inevitables by Kevin Kelly. And it talks about how technology is going to change the workforce over the next 10 years. Now, this was written back in 2017, I believe. But all the stuff that book said are coming true right now. So it's like you have to kind of be forward thinking about how technology is going to change industries and then align yourself with both the right idea, the right people to make sure you are riding that wave versus fighting against the stream. That would be my best advice.
Wow, that's a very good point. And people don't realize that AI coming. I was reading the article, actually listening to the article the other day, where this expert in China was saying that 40% of the US, 40% of people are going to be wiped out of their jobs in the next 7 to 10 years. Jobs
Oh, I
changing.
believe it.
AI. I mean, wiped out, and people are not open enough to see it coming. And they keep saying, not me, them, not me. And man, when it hits home, it's going to hurt a lot of people. That's why smart money licks ahead. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I think the most successful people in the world, they live in the future. They're always thinking 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ahead. Now they enjoy the present. I don't want that to get confusing. Some people say, "Oh, you got to enjoy the moment." I mean, he's in Mexico. I'm leaving on Friday for a month. I'm going all over visiting and going up to Canada and a bunch of other places. So like we enjoy today, but we
Yeah.
also think for 2 years down the road because it's like you're playing chess, not checkers, when it comes to investments and things like that. So you always have to be on your front foot, always have to be thinking in the future, because I believe that life defaults to the aggressor. So if you don't stay aggressive, you'll ultimately be on your heels. And when you're reactionary, you don't have enough time. You're not fast enough to react to things.
That's true. Slow to move. You know,
Yeah,
I was talking on a call a little while ago, another call I did a few minutes before I got on this call. The guy said, "Man, you're in Mexico?" Oh, yeah. Because I remember a year and a half ago, you were talking about getting a place there. I said, well, no, it's a reality,
yeah,
because you're again, then I was thinking about here. Now I'm here and I'm thinking about something else now.
exactly right.
Yeah, you got to stay ahead of the curve. And
And
you got
that's
to,
one thing I've always appreciated about you is that you've always kind of taught me to think. You have to think when we met, I was 26. I didn't have, I had, I mean, had a couple bucks in the bank, but nothing crazy. But you always told me, like, look, you need to start thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what is your life going to look like? And then how are you going to get to what your vision is? So I was always appreciative to that because you understood, like, you know, how important it was to plan and think about the future. And before I had met you, I had never even thought about the future. I thought about Saturday night.
like most guys.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's true.
Share with me, with everybody, our listeners from around the world here. You're about ready to go on a month excursion looking around the world. So tell everybody about a little bit about why you're doing this and what for.
Well, for the main reason is because I think that people's, especially as men, I think a lot of men neglect their own mental health and their own recovery time. So I
Mhm.
work a ton. I always have. I'm a workaholic. I work Monday through Saturday every week, and mostly to recharge my batteries. But the ancillary reason is I love to play golf. I'm going to play at a bunch of really nice courses around the country. I haven't been back home to Chicago in 3 years, so I need to go back there and make sure the house is still there. And then I am going to be looking at real estate all over, we've talked about so many times in the past. If you get outside your hometown, you can learn a lot about the world and you can see a lot of opportunities. So I'm going to look in North Georgia, in Tennessee, over by where Mr. Clemens lives. I'm going to look in Kentucky. I'm going to look in Ohio. I'm going to look in Illinois, Indiana. I'm going to go up in Canada and see if I can find some short-term stuff. I know me and you have talked about the Toronto and Montreal markets. I think both of those are prime for a pullback, and I'm going to be looking for some stuff there. I always like to invest in areas that are not super popular right now. So, for instance, a lot of people say bad things about California and New York. So of course I'm buying I'm under contract right now for an 11 unit in Syracuse. So like I said, I'm always looking for more real estate to add to the bottom line. And then I'm going to finish up in I'm from Fairfax, Virginia originally, and I'm going to finish up there and visit some family and then head home. So I'll be gone pretty much all of June. Might stretch into a week or two of July too.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a blessing. You work hard, you play hard.
Oh, I mean, and there's no one who can tell me I can't go.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That's
right.
the
You're the
best
boss.
part.
I always
Yeah.
tell people, I always tell people in network marketing, if I want to go somewhere, I go in the bathroom, I look in the mirror, and says, "Hey, can I go?" And the mirror says, "Where you want to go?" I says, "Paris, France for a week." Okay, you know.
Yeah, I always tell people jokingly, they're like, "Oh, you'll be able to take off that much time?" I say, "Yeah, me and my boss are pretty cool." Like,
I like that. That's a good
yeah,
one. That's a good one.
because I
Yeah,
always like to make things seem like there's collaboration because
mhm,
I don't like to give people decisions right there on the spot. I just say, "Hey, let me confer with my business partner. I'll get back to you." Now, I do have a business partner named Mike who's fantastic. You've actually met him in the past, but even if it's a decision I'm going to make on myself, I'm still going to confer with my business partner just to give me some time to process the information and really think about it before I make a hasty decision. So, yeah, for years I've been saying, "Oh, let me check with my partner, even if it's just me."
yeah. It's funny you say that because one of my what I call out clauses when I do when I do a transaction or business or whatever, one of the clauses I have in there is let me let me get the approval of my CPA. That kind of lets me off the hook for that day until I
For sure.
like process it. People don't realize you got to
Yeah,
process. So mine is let me get my CPA to approve it because I don't do anything without my CPA's approval.
yeah. It's funny. You actually, I don't remember what the book was, but you recommended a book years ago, and I read it, and he said the same thing, and he's like, "Well, I got to check with my assistant," and his assistant was his dog, and he would like go home and pet his dog, and that was how he made decisions. But it was smart because you when you're in the moment, sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees.
Yeah. And successful people I notice, I'm sure you'll collaborate with this. We make decisions. We make a decision. When we make a decision, we made a decision and we change it rarely. Where
Very rarely.
95% of people make decisions fast and they change them often, you
Yeah,
know?
I think that the ability to not to like vacillate is important, right?
Mm,
Because you always go with your first instinct, in my opinion. That's just kind of your gut is got years of training.
yeah.
So I think people who are unsure of themselves or have had failure in the past, I think that they cannot fail. Versus us, we know you're going to lose 3 out of 10, but you're going
Mhm.
to win 7 out of 10. So overall, you'll be up. But I think that people who have not been successful or have not been through that are just starting to realize, or they're afraid to make mistakes versus understanding that, look, I'm going to throw it out there and see what happens. And yeah, I might fail, but I'll win more than I lose as long as I'm prepared and make the right decisions.
Yeah, and I think most people, they want to win 100% of the time. That's why they're scared. And like you said, we know that we're going to lose 3 out of 10, seven in the win. We're still ahead of the game, but they're so frightened of that one deal losing that they can't win. Scared money can't win. Scared money.
Absolutely. And I tell people all the time, like, look, if you're risk adverse, then do safe things. I mean, shoot, 4-week T-bills right now are paying 5.3%. It's a not lose guaranteed. Now, if you want to make 20%, there's some risk attached. You got to go further out on the risk curve. So find out what you're comfortable with as far as risk, and then stay in your lane. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a gambler. Like, I'll put $1,000 or $2,000 in something or $10,000 in something if it has a chance of a 10x return.
right.
Because for me, the reward outweighs the risk. Some people might not be that. They're like, oh my God, I can't lose $1,000 or $10,000, which is understandable. Everybody's life is different. I remember back in the day when I couldn't lose $100.
Yeah.
So I get it. Just figure out where you are on the risk curve. That's all.
And people can't afford the 1,000 because they had to go work for it, and it was hard to work for that 1,000 rather than make money. So it's a little bit different. I said 95% of people they work for money. 5% is turned upside down. We make money,
Yeah,
and that's why it's easier. And we understand the odds are in our favor if we look at things the right way. That's powerful.
100%. And I've been poor. I grew up poor. I mean, my background, and I've been wealthy, I've been rich and now I'm wealthy. And I will recommend wealthy 10 times out of 10. I mean, it is so nice to not have to think about money and to not have to stress about money or anything like that. And like, I was at lunch with a friend the other day and I got a deposit in my account for 60 grand. Didn't know it was coming. So like, now that money won't even change my life. I won't even notice it's there. But I remember back in the day when I didn't even make 60,000 in a year. Now I got it while I'm at eating barbecue with a buddy of mine that I haven't seen in a while. So it's like, I tell everybody, if you get as fast as possible, get rich. Life
Yeah.
is so much better. Now it's not going to solve all your problems. Money doesn't solve problems. It makes life easier and it gives you options. But if you're a terrible person, money's just going to make you worse. If you're a drunk, you're just going to drink better alcohol.
Yeah.
Um, it's really all it is. So get the money problems out of your life, and then you can figure out like what's important.
There's an old saying, all money does is amplify who you really
Agreed.
are. You
100%
amplify.
agree.
Like you said, if you drink, you
Yep.
just drink better alcohol. If you're bad with people, you're gonna always be bad with. It's so
Yeah,
true.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Although you will notice, and I am sure you can agree with this, the most successful people I've ever met are the best people I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Down to earth, so like stand up people. Actually, like pretty consistently, the most successful people I've met over the years have been the best people, the most integrity, the most honest, the hardest working, the most genuine people. And I think that's not a coincidence. I think that there's certain traits that lend themselves to you being successful. And I think integrity is right at the top of the list. So I think that those people really benefit from their personality traits, where people who maybe have a scarcity mentality and are always worried and taking advantage of people and things like that, they don't really ever hit that echelon of success because they're not living life right.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Wow. What do you see this world going, or should I say United States, or your forecast for the next? Well, we got election year coming up November this year, next year. What do you foresee in real estate and business?
So
I got that smile on your face.
so I am not a fan of politicians at all.
Okay.
We've talked about this ad nauseum. I do not like politicians. I think they're all a joke, to be honest with you. Um, I think that between the last two presidents, I think they both printed way too much money. And I think that the
Agreed.
inflation problem is going to come back to roost. So I think that you better stay liquid and you better have some insurance. For me, insurance would be like cryptocurrency, gold and silver. I'm a big gold and silver guy, have been for
Yeah.
years.
Me too.
Um, if there's only two things that can happen, right? And this is kind of a macro picture, and this some of the people might get this and some might not. But if I say something you don't understand, just do some research. But there's only two outcomes. We get an ugly, ugly, ugly recession and a deflationary spiral, which is probably worst case scenario, or inflation comes back and we have an inflationary environment like the 70s again. So with deflation, good luck. I don't no idea how to help you there. Um, Make sure you got cash, make sure you got silver, make sure you got some lead. You'll need all of them. And then if it's inflationary, you want to be in hard assets, right? Things that go up with inflation. So the S&P will go up during inflationary, gold will go up during inflationary environment, real estate, all things priced in US dollars will go up. So I would look at that. And as much as the dollar has issues, we're still the cleanest shirt in a dirty laundry basket. So I would I would stick in the United States as much as I can. There are some emerging markets, but that's super high risk. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can lose all your money real fast.
Yeah. Real quickly, talk about international. I'm going to go off the cuff here. And what do you think about the BRICS and what that's bringing to the world?
Well, I'll tell you what, if they end up tying their currency to gold, which it looks like all well and good it's going to happen, the the guy who was 18 years old spending his entire paycheck on an ounce of gold, me, is going to be very happy because I have a nice little pile of gold. And I started buying gold when it was $191 an ounce was my first one. I bought a Krugerrand. I still got it. And gold's 2,500 now. Silver, the first ounce I bought was like $7. It's 30 something now. So look, my family came from Uganda, and the only reason they could get here is because of gold coins. So my dad has always put the idea of, look, when everything else fails, those gold coins in your hand can get you places that things can't. So I've always understood the power of gold and why it's important in a portfolio. Now, I'm not saying to go out and spend 50% of your net worth in gold, but if you don't have at least some, there's a guy who wrote a book called Why Gold, Why Now, a guy named E.B. Tucker.
That's right.
He's on he's the man. He lives up in Sarasota, actually, not far from here. Yeah, I would read that book. It talks about, based on your income and your assets, how much gold you should have as your insurance portfolio. And I think that advice right now is extremely prudent, especially if the BRICS comes through with what they're talking about doing.
Yeah. His book is amazing. E.B. Tucker's an amazing book. Yeah. Why Gold, Why Now? Powerful book. If you don't mind, if it's not too personal, you want to tell the story about your dad and his association with gold?
Oh, yeah, sure. So my dad is from a small village in Uganda called Mbala. And there was a dictator named Idi Amin back then who basically came into Africa and just started killing the locals and trying to consolidate and take over power. So my dad was literally walking home from school one day, heard gunshots, took off running, never saw his house again, never saw his country again. They were international refugees for a few years, and they used the power of gold to be able to like pay for things and get to where they needed to go. And then ultimately they received political asylum from Richard Nixon here, and they were able to come to the United States in the 70s. So, like I said, they were living on the road for years, bouncing from country to country and using the gold they had to be able to buy entry into places, stay places, eat, things like that. So that little yellow metal basically saved my family tree forever. So yeah, it's important because guess what? If things break down, ounce of gold here, it's an ounce of gold in India, it's an ounce of gold in Africa, it's an ounce of gold in London. Everyone knows what it is. Everyone knows what it's worth. So that's why metals are so important as defense in your portfolio.
Yeah. Gold and silver is God's money. And you 100%. You can't counterfeit that. You can counterfeit the dollars and all this other, like you said, fiat money, but not God's money. You can't, it is what it is, no matter where you go in the world.
Yeah, and if things break down, you'll need silver for barterability. Like you got to eat, you're going to need silver coins. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Put a couple $100 worth of junk silver in your drawer and make sure you save it. That's 40% coins. That's easy stuff. And then there's also, if you want to go further into gold or gold and silver, there's banks like Eveready where you can buy things with other currencies and put them in silver and gold. There are a ton of ETFs you can buy. There's a lot of stuff. I don't like ETFs because I feel like it's not real. The gold and silver is not really there. I'd like to hold it in my hand because God forbid if I need it, I need the real stuff, not a piece of paper that says I own it.
The ETFs, when it comes to cashing in, they don't give you the metal. They give you dollars because they want to keep the metal because metal is hard to come by.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Everready. I used to do Everready up in New York a long time ago. You can, do currency trading and what have you, as far as buying US dollars with francs and buying gold and silver, and there's to store it for you. That's another good avenue. But folks, I'm telling you, Mr. Benji's gave you some great nuggets today. You're talking about a guy who had nothing, came up in this country with his dad, who had hiding gold and I mean in his throughout his clothes, and got here, and now his son, we hooked up back in 2012, and like, he didn't have any money. Now he's a multi-millionaire. He's got 49 properties on the board. He's got a bunch of capital, a bunch of real estate he owns. He's cash flowing a lot of money, and he's got millions of dollars of cash. And one of my dear friends, and a guy that listened to me, took it off. He's one of my 21 millionaires. But I'm here to share with you guys, it's not that difficult to make it. If you can't make it in America, you can't make it nowhere. You don't see nobody going to Africa. You don't see nobody going to South America. You don't see nobody going to Europe. They're all coming to America. Why? It's the land of the free and the land of opportunity. So, sir, give us a few words in closing.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to thank you. I mean, obviously, meeting you was like changed the whole trajectory of my life. Um, so thank you for everything over the years. I know I've said it multiple times, but I want to say it on camera. That way I got some proof. Um, but I would say that I think the two things I always notice that people struggle with are I just wish I could implant this into people's brains. Think much bigger, much faster, and don't be afraid to risk something once in your life. Don't go through your whole life and being afraid to ever take a shot or take a risk. Bet on yourself. Trust me, you will work harder for yourself than anyone, you'll work for anyone else. So if you really want to get there in life, you got to take a shot at something. I don't know what it is. I don't know who you are or what you're doing, whether it be writing a book, network marketing, starting a business, starting a side hustle, flipping things online. I mean, it's never been easier to make six figures online ever. I mean, you can go to bookstores and get Goodwill and resale books and make six figures from your garage. I mean, it's the internet and smartphones have made it so easy. You just have to be willing to put the work in. I don't have any skills at all. I just work harder than everybody. That's been my special power. I am willing to work harder than you, guaranteed, no matter who it is. I will work harder than you. I'll outwork you because that's my only advantage is my work ethic. I don't have any specific skills. I'm not ultimately that smart. I just I wear glasses to throw people off my scent. But yeah, I have an extraordinary work ethic, and that's the thing that set me apart over the years.
Yep, that's so true. Folks, you know what? It goes back to my mentor, my billionaire mentor, Kenny Trout's mother. Her name was Nadine before she passed. She always pounded in his head, and he's always pounding in my head. And she said this to Kenny. She says, Kenny, you don't have to be the very best. Just do your very best. Folks, Jeremy Benji, he's saying the same thing. Just do your very best and use what God has given you. Like I said, a lot of us are not talented, me included, because my dad, I mean, you heard his family. My dad was a sergeant in the service. I mean, how did I become a multimillionaire all these years? I got around wealthy people, and they taught me the same thing. It's the principles. And I didn't put my nose up to people with the degrees because they had a piece of paper, but they were struggling, paycheck to paycheck. I wanted to be with people who understand the quality of life that I wanted and live that lifestyle. I haven't had a boss at all. I never had a job. Why? Because I found my gift at a young age, and I followed with these three billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires share it with me, and it's changed my life. And so I have the calling to change other people's life, like Mr. Benji. Now think about Mr. Jeremy Benji. How many lives thinks he's touching? How many young people looking up to him and saying, "My God, I want to be like," and he's taking them on his ways, he's mentoring them. Folks, that's what we're here for, to be a blessing, but also show we can do it. If we can do it, you can do it. So this channel was created for helping people get there. And that's what I love about this channel, interviewing successful entrepreneurs. One of my millionaire students who's gone on to make millions and millions of dollars now is ready to travel for a month, maybe 2 months around the world and just do the things he want to do because he worked hard. He deserves it. But the question is, are you willing to work hard and deserve your own business? So with that, Mr. Jeremy Benji, thank you so much for your time, my friend. You look good. Tell your brother I said hello. Give your brother a hug. All right, guys, thank you for joining the channel. Hit the subscribe button below. Send this out to 3 or 4 people who are looking at being entrepreneurs. And not only that, we watch it at least once or twice. And not only that, drop a comment below. And we want to thank you guys for coming to the podcast today. Thank you out there from around the world. Take care. God bless as always. We'll see you at the top. Or we'll see you over the top. Have a blessed day.